Hey, welcome back to Weeby Kids again. My name's Danny, I'm one of the founders of Weeby Kids, and I'm also a storyteller. I've been telling stories like this for Weeby Kids for about 2 years, and know that if you go onto the Weeby Kids website, there are over 70 different stories for you to listen to, enjoy, and share with others. Now today I've come up to the woods to tell you a story that is from Greece, but its roots can be traced all the way through Europe, Bulgaria and Czechoslovakia, and sometimes the story goes by a different name. Sometimes it is called The Snow and the Strawberries. But I know this story as the 12 months. Now, a long time ago, there were two sisters. One sister was very, very kind. She spoke very well of others. She always passed compliments and gave gratitude. But the other sister, she was mean. She was nasty to others, and she always called people names. Now, one day, the kind sister, she was out wandering through the forest when she happened over a cave. As she approached the cave, she could see a light flickering in the back. She got closer and closer and she peered in. And there she saw 12 elderly ladies all sat around the fire. They welcomed her in, and she stood there in front of them. One of the elderly ladies said to the kind sister, "Tell us, young girl, what do you think of the 12 months? And without hesitation, the young girl said with a big smile on her face, March, April, May, I just love those months. The spring arrives, the new shoots appear, the flowers appear and the butterflies fly through the air. I love March, April and May." And 3 of the ladies smiled and rested back. Then she said, "June, July and August, the summer months, oh, they are so wonderful. The sun shines. It's great to go to the coast, swim in the sea. I just love the summer months and the warm air." 3 of the other ladies smiled and sat back. And then she went on. September, October, November, the autumn months. The leaves change from green to yellow and gold and red. The fruits and the nuts fill the forest. The air begins to get cold and the morning dew sparkles. Oh, I love those months. And 3 more of the elderly ladies sat back and smiled. And the kind sister went on. December, January, February. For these winter months, these are my favourite of all. The air gets crisp and cold. We have Christmas and we have New Year and the fresh snow falls. These winter months are my favourite months. And with that, the final 3 elderly ladies rested back and smiled. Then one of the elderly ladies said, "Young girl, reach down into the fire and take some of our coals home with you, for we have a special treat for you." And the young girl looked at the fire. She was a little bit nervous. She'd been told, "Don't touch fire." And she looked back at the elderly ladies, but they nodded. And she reached in and she grabbed the coals. They were cool. And she filled her apron with them. And she ran all the way home. And when she got there, she opened the door and she went inside and she emptied her apron out in front of her mother and her other sister. But it wasn't coals that came out. From inside her apron spilled hundreds and hundreds of gold pieces. And the sister said, "Where did you get that from? I want some gold pieces too." And the kind sister told her all about the ladies in the cave in the forest. And the mean sister jumped up, she put on her shoes and she ran out of the door. And she went through the forest, all the time looking for this cave. And then just as it was getting dark, she saw a flickering in the distance. She headed towards it and there she found the cave. She stuck her head in and there were the 12 elderly ladies sat around the fire. They said, "Come on in, young girl, warm yourself by the fire." And the girl walked in and she said, "I haven't got time for that, I've come for something." And the elderly lady said, "Well, tell us, what do you think of the 12 months of the year?" And the girl thought for a moment and she said, "Well, March, April and May, they're the worst months. It rains heavily, it's always windy. I can't stand March, April and May." And 3 of the ladies bowed their heads and they moved back. And she went on. "June, July and August, the heat, it's unbearable. I can't stand those months. I always wish for cooler weather. If only we didn't have those hot summer months, the year would be much better." 3 more of the elderly ladies bowed their head with a sorrowful look on their face and moved back. And the sister went on. September, October, November, all the leaves start to fall off the trees. They all look bare and ugly. And of course it begins to get too cold then. One time it's too hot, then it's too cold. Now we have no leaves on the trees. I do not like the autumn at all. And 3 more of the elderly ladies, they bowed their heads and they sat back in despair. And the sister went on. And worst of all, December, January, February, it gets so bitterly cold. There's icicles hanging, there's slushy snow on the ground. I cannot stand the winter time. And with that, the final 3 ladies bowed their heads and moved to the back of the cave. And the sister said, "Well, don't you have something for me?" And one of the elderly ladies looked forward. She said, "Fill your apron with coals from the fire." She said, "Coals? I didn't come here for coals." And the lady said, "Fill your apron with coals from the fire." She moved forward and she filled her apron with the coals. And she ran all the way home and she burst through the door and the mother said, "Did you get them too?" And the sister said, "Yes, yes." And she excitedly opened out her apron. And all across the floor fell the same pieces of black coal that she picked from the fire. You see, it turns out that kind words are worth their weight in gold, but mean and nasty ones, they certainly aren't. So I hope you enjoyed that story. That story is a kindness story, but for me, it's also a story of gratitude. I'm sure that we all know somebody who, regardless of the weather, always wishes for something else. If it's too wet, they want the sun. If it's too hot, they want the rain. If it's too cold, they want the summer. But when we are ungrateful for what we get, All it means that we do is just rush our way through life, never really appreciating the beauty of the changes that nature provides for us. So that is a story about kindness and kind words, but it's also a story about gratitude and appreciating the changes that happen all around us. So thanks for stopping by at Weeby Kids. We hope to see you again sometime soon. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like this and subscribe to our channel, and then you will receive updates of all of our stories and activities as we post them. Thanks for stopping by. See you again soon. Bye.